and welcome back to Big Body, Bigger Mouth, the show that'll make you laugh, cry, and question or not. Me, Kelsey Belcher, your host, should be allowed on the internet. Make sure if you like what you see, you like, subscribe, and share to 216 Creator Studios. Hit that live tab to see all of our shows throughout the week, and all our new episodes will be uploaded there. Today I'm in the studio with Drew.
Hello.
And we have a little bit more of a serious episode today. It's about, it's called Biggest Fish to Fry, and it's basically about growing up plus size, being plus size, and what it means in the world to be a plus size woman who's just trying to live her life without, letting the haters and people get her down, and how society is, and blah, blah, blah. So here we go.
You know what I love? You know what I love about this is, and I don't know if everybody out there knows this, but this show, I love that you do this show because this show tells the stories of where you were and now where you're going, which is all self-improvement. So I'm very proud of you, number one. And having you in the studio. Yes, she produces as well.
I do.
And it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun having you here.
So. It's my dream to do it. So thank you to you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Wouldn't have it any other way. Oh. So what are we talking about today, Kels?
We're talking about fatties.
Nice.
We're about how I grew up and what it's like, and also everyone ignore my bangs. I don't know what's going on here, but my hairdresser's in Miami, so lucky her. So
I have clippers if you want me to.
Yeah, actually, the show is just me getting a haircut, a buzz cut from Drew. That's the whole episode. No, so. Obviously, people who know me and have known me for a very long time have known I've always been chubby. All right? Like, I came out the womb chubby. Like, 100th percentile. Actually, I don't know what that means. I don't think it was the 100th. But point is, I was, like, racking up weight ever since I was a kid. I've always been chubby. I grew up with, like, a chubby family. Like, no hate, love y'all. But it was true, That's just how it was. I've had a terrible relationship with food. Like, I've not, like, quick trigger warning, but, like, I've had, like, eating disorders. I've, restricted food, binge ate, that, anything you can think of, I did.
Yep.
Because I hated it. People who grow up fat get it, and here's what I'll say about, like, skinny versus fat shaming. I think it's terrible. I think any body shaming is awful, and if you do it, you're a piece of shit human being. Yep. Like, truly, from the bottom of my heart, I believe that.
Well, too, I think people that do that have their own demons they're dealing with.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And they're deflecting, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I agree with you. It's easier to point out other people's flaws.
Yeah.
Versus look at your own. And what you've done is you've looked at your own flaws to the point where you have a show about it.
Exactly.
Which is great. So let me ask you a few questions based on.
Please do.
So I grew up sugar coated.
Yeah,
that's the way I like to put it.
Right.
A large Italian family from Chicago. Food is our thing to the point where I did it for a living in culinary. If it didn't have butter and bacon, it wasn't a meal, right? Also, it's the bags that you pull open. Half of it's made of air. The other half of it is made of fattening deliciousness. Right.
Yeah.
And so what I have found for me is that when I'm overthinking or going through something or know something's coming around the corner, my go-to is to just mangiare, right? It's just you just shove it in your pie hole and then regret sets in later, right? Do you find the same? Is that the food relationship you have? Is it based on mental health?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like when I was at my worst, which May is Mental Health Awareness Month, which I totally forgot. So the next episode I'm doing, we're talking about me in the loony bin. All right. Because that, like, people don't know that story and they don't get I've been through that, like they don't understand like that whole situation. And it was a doozy. It really was. But when I was at my lowest, when I was in my first mental hospital, I say first, which we all know is crazy. It's been a few times, but the first time I, had a catatonic episode, we'll get into that on that episode, whatever. And I basically didn't eat for like a week. Okay. And I was like kind of delusional, and I thought they were like putting pills in my food to like give me my medication. And I didn't like that. Like, I could taste the medicine, so any food they'd give me, I'd spit it out. Like, I'd literally spit it out, wouldn't eat it. I lost, I think, like 50 pounds in like 7 days. Because, and I was like, I looked sick. Like, obviously, I was still bigger, but I didn't look like anorexic. But you could see in my face, I was like pale. My under eyes were purple. I literally had no energy. I didn't eat at all.
Yeah.
The most fucked up thing that happened after that, when I got out, people were congratulating me on losing weight.
Ugh.
They were like, my best friend at the time, who we're no longer friends for whole different reasons, but he looked at me and he said, "You look so great, you look thinner." And I remember being so validated and happy that people were recognizing I was thinner. I literally didn't eat for 7 days. Like, I literally wouldn't even drink water. I would spit it out. Like, I remember, like, vividly. Like, one time they had so at the place I was at, they, like, had, like, little yogurt cups, and because I wasn't, like, well enough to go to the cafeteria at that time, they had me, like, essentially, like, locked in the ward and, like, kind of in my room for most of the time. And they had this, like, little pink yogurt, and I saw them, like, put the pill in there. And they, like, literally had to back me into a wall, put it in my mouth, and I spit it out. Literally just on the floor. I'm like, I'm not eating that. Because I didn't want to be essentially drugged, because that's what I thought they were doing to me. Right. Because I was, like, in this catatonic delusional state. So I literally everything I ate tasted like pills and tasted like gritty. And, like, I just think that is so sick for someone. And it's not just me. Like, I've had friends who have had, like, food relationship problems. And at their sickest, thinnest, like, unhealthiest time, people are like, "You look fantastic." What? So, yeah.
That, that's sad. So here's the thing, people don't understand the pain behind the eyes of the person that is going through something unless they actually know and can validate that who you are and what you're going through. And losing any amount of weight in that kind of quantity in a short amount of time. Maybe it wasn't 50 pounds, but it was probably quite a bit that it was noticeable.
Right.
Super unhealthy, right? Listen, you're a big girl, but you look healthy. Right. You seem to have a fun personality, good back. So you're doing all the right things right now. And I know that as people will watch the show and progress, that they'll probably see some weight loss on you because you're diligently working towards a goal, and which is fantastic.
In a healthy way.
You're doing it the right way.
Which is like the first time in my life I've done it healthily.
Correct.
Like, and so to answer your question from before, yes, it's really emotional eating.
Yeah.
Like, I had a date, you could say, like, last week. And a date. Anyway. The guy came over and we hung out, we watched a movie, whatever. And I thought it went really well. Okay, I was like, this guy listened to 5 Seconds of Summer, which obviously we know I, like, live, breathe, and die for. Said that Luke Hemmings was his favorite. He loved all the same movies I did, listened to the same movies. He was cute. He was tall. He was, like, everything I, like, essentially would want in a guy. And he said he was looking for something casual, but then was kind of like, I'm not too sure I, like, could do a relationship. So I heard that. Obviously, he didn't want a relationship, and I, like, didn't really get that. Like, I typically don't. And he left, and I was like, oh, I had so much fun. Blocked my number, blocked me on Facebook, blocked me on Snapchat within 5 minutes of him. In which he kissed me goodbye and said, I'll see you on Saturday.
Interesting.
So, in turn, what did I do? I went to the fridge, I made a gigantic sandwich, and ate half a bag of chips, and had 2 pieces of cheese, and cried myself to sleep.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do. Your learned behavior, especially for someone who's bigger, is I'm just going to eat. Oh, well, this meal will make me feel better. Maybe I'm just hungry. Maybe, you know what? Like, it's just like eat, eat, eat. And it's like, that's how I like coped with it, was just like, I felt so sick to my stomach, like when he did that. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm hungry. I know I'm not fucking hungry.
No,
like,
you're filling the void.
Upset.
Yep.
And it's like, if I don't fill the void with guys, I fill the void with food.
Right.
And then it's like, I don't, like, I know this behavior. It's a pattern. Like, I saw this thing on TikTok that, like, broke my heart. And it was like, he's not your type, he's your pattern. And I literally was like,
holy
I'm like,
crap,
you're
that's
fucked
so
up
true.
for writing
Yeah,
that.
man.
I'm like, fuck you for telling me that.
Right.
And it's like, I've been in therapy. I'm still in therapy. I've been in therapy since I was like fucking 11, 12 years old. And I'm going to be 22.
Yeah.
Like, I know what is wrong. Like, I know what's going on. It's just the fact of unlearning those behaviors and wanting. If you don't want better for yourself, you'll never get better for yourself.
That's right.
Ever.
You have to want it.
And I want it. I want better for myself. I just slip into old patterns when I'm slipping into like a not good.
When the dark cloud comes in your room,
right,
you're like, might as well.
Right. And my therapist calls it Kelsey's fuck it mentality.
Oh yeah. Everybody's got a fuck it mentality. Yeah. I have mine.
And it isn't like to tell people like, oh, like F off. It's more of like, fuck it, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
When it came to like, all my bad behaviors, it's, oh, fuck it, I'll just do it.
Do you think that's almost like self-punishment?
Yeah.
Because you feel like you work towards something and then something negative happens and then it's kind of like, you know what? I don't deserve this. I'm just going to do this instead. And then you go back to your habit.
Yes.
Right.
My therapist says that, which one day, like when I'm not her client anymore, which probably won't be ever, there's like a 5-year rule where like they can't like go to your wedding or they can't be on something with you unless it's like been 5 years or that you haven't been with them. Mm-hmm. 5 years from now, she's on the pod. That would be hilarious. But she always says, yeah, it's like more self-sabotaging and that I wait for the shoe to drop. So like that's also part of why I like never let myself be happy. Because I'm always waiting for the bad. It's like I can never enjoy the moment because I'm waiting for like shit to hit the fan. I'm waiting for something bad to happen and I'm waiting for everything to just kind of be like taken. Like, oh, like this is exciting. And then it's like, oh, but what if this happens? Or I got invited to do this, but are we going to be driving together? Can I get like, it's always like I'm looking for the bad because I can't accept the good. Like, and it isn't necessarily nothing is ever good enough. It's what am I going to do to fuck this up? Or what's going to happen that I can't be able to do it? Or just in that ballpark. Well, and I've always done it. Like, I've always just been like, I wait for the bad and I self-sabotage and I self-punish and it's just like restrict and then binge. It's
wash, rinse, repeat, right? So
it's a pattern.
Yeah, it's a pattern and it's a very unhealthy pattern.
Yeah. And
to break that is a mindset and that's a hard thing to do. Now, so let's fast forward a little bit, as a little kid, now you get into your teenage years, right? Where image is like everything, and it's just every TV show is pretty people. Thin, it's the model.
The fat person's the funny one.
Right, always the funny one. I was the kid. I was a very chunky kid. I was the comedian because that was my. That was all I had, according to myself. Right. Little imposter syndrome kicks in. Like you're not good enough. Or everybody's going to invite you somewhere, but it's a pool party. Or it's somewhere. I used to go swimming. I would have to wear a T-shirt. I told people I was allergic to chlorine. Was whatever the excuse was. Right. Yeah. And then, there was a trigger in my life that said, well, I grew up differently than you two. I grew up a little more south side of Chicago. I got picked on a lot, beat up a lot. To where I had to defend myself. I ended up in little bit of boxing to martial arts to a little bit of everything for self-defense, right? My dad said, you need to take care of yourself. So that kind of did it for me. And then I had a friend who's no longer with us. Shout out and peace to John Keith Dilg, who's my best friend at the time. He's no longer with us. He was a skater, gone bodybuilder. Yeah. And he being around that atmosphere made me want to do more. Right. And he pushed me to do more. Yeah. So I think the surroundings that you put yourself in is going to be key. And so my advice really to you or anybody else out there that have these pattern issues is, surround yourself by greatness, more support than image type people, just due to the fact that they're going to help push you and monitor you to help you with your goals. And that should be a goal, is just to be self-sufficient, not to be the skinny, pretty person, but to be a good person and healthy, right? That's key. So when you were a teenager, and we'll go into the stories of teenage years, right? Yeah. So what was it like for you based on your eating patterns and wanting to go to parties with friends and everything else, to where, you probably were crushing on somebody, but probably figured you weren't good enough. Right. So there's that self-sabotage and you fall into that category.
Yeah. Teenage years were probably the worst time for body image. I think anywhere ages from 11 being in middle school to 18 years old, which I graduated high school when I was 17, but either way, that was probably the worst time for it. So obviously YouTube and social media really took off, I feel like, when I was in 6th or 7th grade. Mm-hmm. That is the worst fucking time to be on social media, is when you're that age. Mm-hmm. Because it's pretty privilege everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's how many posts am I get, how many shares, how many likes, how many retweets, am I getting mentioned on this story, am I getting tagged, am I getting invited to this, did I get this DM, did I get that Snapchat? It's it's a validation piece. And I think I've always worn what I wanted to wear, which is something I'm very proud of. In middle school, I'd wear short dresses, I'd wear short skirts, I'd wear low-cut tops, I'd wear whatever the fuck I wanted that fit me, because I was like, I don't care. Right. And I had this I built up this person that was fake confidence, and people would be like, I love your confidence. I love that you're like this. And I would compliment people I liked and knew. And I'd be like, oh, I like your shirt, girl. Or, oh, you look nice today, because I wanted to spread that, because I didn't hear that. Right. I think the food restriction and starving and whatever else started in middle school. And then it just kind of snowballed. Yep. And that's when I kind of really got diagnosed with oh, I think you have an eating disorder. And I was like, yeah, I definitely think that's what's going on, essentially. And so I always had skinny, pretty friends. I was cheer manager, didn't make the team, but I was cheer manager, and I always did get invited to decent amount of parties. But I felt like I had to turn it on. And I kind of created this person that, I guess, imposter syndrome, whatever, was my old alter ego, which was Kelsey fucking Belcher. Yeah. Which is kind of what I would say to myself to hype myself up, be the funny person. I always told crazy stories. I always was very loud. I wore pretty makeup. I did my outfit right. And I put myself out there as this happy, kind of ball of sunshine, I don't give an F attitude out there. Yeah. And obviously, I thought it was working. I thought I was convincing myself, fake it till you make it type thing. And then my therapist at the time was like, I believe this is fake. She's like, I don't think this is who you really are. I think this is who you want people to think you are. And that really hit me, and it was the truth, It
was a mask.
Right. Of course it was. There was no way I was that confident, because I would do these things, say these things, post these things. And then I'd be crying in my bed, you know, having these dark moments, throwing up my food type vibe, you know, like it was just that kind of thing. And when we talk about like crushes, I never thought a guy would like me. Like, and if I thought he did, he liked my friend. You know, I was always the best friend. You know, I was always the fat, funny friend, always the best friend to these guys, always like, oh, we love Kelsey.
Or you were the psychologist for all the friends, right?
Seriously, check on your friends who always check on you.
Yeah.
Because those people are probably going through it the worst.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like that. Like, I had liked a guy in middle school that I truly believe was like, at that time, like, I think that there's like different stages of loves of your life. But for him, was kind of like the first guy I thought I ever loved, which was like a puppy love kind of love. You know, you're young, you don't understand like love and relationships and dating, whatever. I had a boyfriend in middle school who was probably the only guy still to this day who said, Kelsey's my girlfriend. You know, I've had failed talking stages, situationships, casual dating, whatever.
Yep.
But he was the only one to be like, no, Kelsey's my girlfriend. And it wasn't him. We had broken up like 4 months after dating, which for middle school, we practically were married. Like 4 months is a long time for a middle school relationship. And I liked this guy, and I probably liked him up until like freshman or sophomore year of high school. And for me, he like hung the moon. Like he did no wrong. He was one of my best friends at the time. And I thought he was like so cute. And we talked all day, every day. We talked on Snapchat. We texted. We FaceTimed. We called. We would message on Kik. Like we would literally any platform you can talk on, we talked on. We would like each other's posts, comment on each other's posts on Instagram. Like all his friends were also my friends. Like we lived in like similar parts of the area. Like we had classes together. Like I literally thought like this guy is everything to me. Because that's what you think when you're a middle school girl, you know? Like you think that your crush is the end all be all. And if I don't end up with this guy, my life is fucking over.
Girl, boy, it's just middle school.
Anybody.
You don't even really know who you are yet.
I didn't know who I was. You know, people are going through puberty and shit. Like, people are horny left and right. Like, but you're in middle school, so you're not doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's just like your hormones are out of control. And I really liked him. And I really thought he maybe liked me back, but I never let myself truly get there. I was like, no, like, he doesn't like me, you know? And I don't know if he ever did. And, like, the way he was acting and the way I would talk to people about it, like, they're like, there's no way he doesn't. Like, the things he says, the things he does. But as we grew up, we, like, grew apart, you know? And he always dated Barbie. You know, I saw a picture recently of him and his current girlfriend. I wanted to puke. Like, this girl is, like, fucking gorgeous. Like, she's petite. She's, like, big-chested, big butt, like, long, like, red hair. Like, she is, like, gorgeous.
And mind you, too, you know, she might be a great person, too.
Right.
Beyond the image, right?
Right. And I, like, really do hope that for him. But, like, he always dated Barbie. You know,
so, you know, that's that. There's a pattern there, too. And so, you know, and for me, it was, you're like my brother.
Yeah, I've always been your like.
And I'm like a bed brother or like right. So you know, once like again, middle school hormones, like right?
Brother.
Shayna, thanks for chatting into the show. Shayna says, when you get further down the road, it becomes a blessing not to skate on looks. Humility helps build more rounded person, pun intended. Will you consider injections that are helping so many? Yeah. You know, Shayna's an avid listener to a lot of our shows, which is awesome. She's family here. So thanks for chiming in, Shayna. We appreciate you as always. Yeah, listen, I think so there's two sides of the road, right? There are the ones that don't gain weight and purposely don't gain weight, and anorexia, bulimia, which is also a disease, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They're afraid to look like they have an ounce of fat on their body. They think skinny is the image to be. There's other mental health issues out there. Even if you're OCD, you might be afraid to eat. You might be afraid that you're going to choke on something, and it's very patternized. And so there's two sides of that spectrum. You got the very big that utilize to fill the void, and then you got the very skinny that are, listen, in America, we're all a little bit hefty. A lot of us are, and a lot of us have changed patterns into the new world to where more healthy, right? So smoking isn't really allowed anywhere. The restaurants that are coming out are a little more farm to table, and some more healthy options to that. So the pattern that you have sits in a realm, it's a whirlwind, right? Yes. So you're like, I want somebody to love me for me.
Right.
And with that, if you had that, all this other stuff for your goals would probably be a little bit easier because you feel like you have that support system.
Yeah.
Versus the guy with the fetish, or versus the weird guys on these dating apps. And once again, I'm 50. Never had to go on a dating app. I found my true love by accident. And it just kind of progressed, and we're 30 years in, still my best friend. So sometimes instead of looking to fill that void, looking in that virtual mirror of yourself, find those flaws, focus on you.
Right.
There's always going to be somebody out there. You're networked in with people like us and other people too that give a shit, right? And if it's that phone call, hey, listen, I just want to eat hot Cheetos naked in bed right now. I'd be like, no, don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Phone a friend. If it's those things that help you get through that little bit, to make that next stop. We discussed several things for dieting right and working out right. Everybody wants that instant gratification. You go to the gym and you look in the mirror right away. You think that something's going to change, right?
Yeah.
You a month, 2 months down the line, for what you do for that work for months prior is where you're going to start seeing those results. And then that's the motivation factor. But you got to get to that point, and you got to be strong in the mind. Great mindset goes a long way.
It does.
So great stories, by the way. I know that we have a segment to kick in. You got something new that you want to do, right?
Yeah. So there's a few things that I'm changing around here because I love the way the podcast is now. Like, I love the stories. I love, how we go kind of like a free talking, find your voice kind of blog,
Yep.
But I want to implement like more segments and more like structure because I want people to, like, even if they can't watch the whole episode, they'll go, I love this segment. Like, I watch a podcast on a different platform that I literally just go to that segment and I watch that segment and then I'm done,
Yep.
So, today we're trying out our first segment called A Big Piece of Advice. So essentially, you guys can DM me at kel.b2002 on Instagram, or look for the Big Body Bigger Mouth Facebook page, or you can email me at kelsey@216thenet.com. And basically, if you have advice and you want to talk about something, get something off your chest, kind of like an Am I the Asshole Reddit situation, or you just want actual advice, I'm not a therapist. Don't take what I say too seriously. Remember, this is a comedy podcast, and I don't know nothing about nothing. So,
well, if you take advice from a producer and a host of a podcast,
like,
you need a different advice professionally from somewhere else.
Right? Maybe possibly like check out a BetterHelp situation.
Correct.
Right. Okay. So let me get to it. So this one was from Instagram, and basically, the question is how to be okay with outgrowing friends. I've outgrown many friends. Friends have outgrown me. It's like, my biggest piece of advice is find people that you can grow together. You'll find your forever friends. Unless you're like a total D-bag and you like are a piece of shit, then like you probably don't have any friends. But if you have a lot of friends and you've outgrown them, it's okay to leave those people for a little and come back and like pick up right where you left off. If you're going in different directions, you're going in different paths. But if there's like, I don't know, your true friends will just grow with you, you know, and the ones you outgrow, my mom always says someone comes into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And not people are meant to be on the full longevity of your show, your life, you know. Sometimes people are there for an episode, they're there for a season, they're there for, you know, a series. Put. Right. And it's like if, you know, the people that grow with you are meant to grow with you. The people you outgrow or they outgrow you, it wasn't meant to be. And just kind of being mindful of, as long as I'm growing every day and I'm being who I want to be, those people will find me. And if you outgrow someone, it's probably because you're not on the same wavelength anymore. I've outgrown friends. I've outgrown friends recently that I thought were going to be forever friends. And then I realized, like, you know what? I don't think we're growing in the same... We're not building...
Does that make them not your friend? So I have friends that I haven't talked to for decades.
Yeah.
But if I was to pick up the phone tomorrow and call them, because I call people, I'm once again a Gen Xer. We call people.
Oh, I call people.
So if I was to call them, it would have been like yesterday.
And those are your true friends. Right. Like you can not be together right now, and you know you have friends you can call and they'll still be there.
Yeah.
I'm talking about friends who you're really not growing in the same garden. Like people who, you know, you thought were once your friend. And they kind of don't have similar
views,
interests, but not even similar views. They just don't really like. You guys are just not the same people, and the people you are now were not the friends you were. You know what I mean?
So I don't know if that's necessarily growing out of a relationship, unless there was some kind of turmoil that damaged the relationship. But if somebody else is on a different journey than you, that's okay. You don't have to see eye to eye, because down the line, 10 years go by, they're going to change again. The only thing I know for a fact is no matter what you believe in your heart, that will change consistently through time.
Yeah.
So I guess my answer would be friends, you have acquaintances.
Yeah.
And then you have friends. We had an episode on this before when your friend was here.
Yeah.
And then from those acquaintances, they can grow into friends. And then friends can grow into family.
Right.
But if you're a friend and you're just taking different journeys, then they just kind of sit in the friend zone down to the acquaintance zone until the next communication happens. And maybe there's a common ground again, unless they damage it. To where you have cut that off.
Yeah,
right?
And I was definitely going to say that too. Like, it's more of like, you can like go your separate path and find each other again if it's meant to be. But there are also like, there are certain things that happen with you and a friend that like F something up, and that can't be fixed.
Right.
You know, and it's okay to say to yourself, like, this purpose is no longer serving me positively.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily what you can do for me. It's not like that kind of thing. It's like, are you adding positivity to my life? Or are you adding stress to my everyday life? Or just my life in general? Like, I was friends with somebody for a while, and I noticed that every time I went to therapy, I talked about them for like a half an hour. And it was all negative. And then my therapist just said to me, would you consider not being friends with this person anymore? Because they're not giving your life any sort of positivity or purpose. They're dragging you down. And that particular friend or like group I was in kind of made me hate myself. Like,
that's not good.
And it wasn't necessarily like every day, but I always felt like I wasn't pretty enough to be friends with them. Or I felt like I was insecure around that person. I felt like I wasn't myself. I was turning into someone that I didn't like to be around. And as soon as I stopped being friends with them, I had no stress. Well, I have plenty of stress, but
I think people that do that, though, people that do that, when they make you feel bad about yourself, and it might be intentional, is because, once again, they got their own demons.
Yeah.
And so now when they're able to go side by side with you for some reason in their mind, they're like, okay, at least I'm not her.
Yeah, we kind of went like this a lot of the time.
Okay.
Because I
think
it's
not worth it.
It was a power struggle.
Yeah.
It was a very big power struggle. It was very like, I'm on top, you're on top, I'm on top, you're on top. It was very just back and forth, like tug of war, but the objection, you weren't winning anything.
Yeah.
Like it was more of just like, I want this, I want that. Like it just didn't work out.
I saw it recently, and I can't take credit for this because I saw it recently. It was either on Facebook or a TikTok type situation, but it was the hardest thing to do is to let go. If you walk into a room and you're never noticed, if you are just there to be there to feel like you're part of something, but nobody around you takes part in you, it's time to let it go.
Yeah.
And then find the people that will.
That's a great
and I thought that was awesome because, and it's so true. Like how many times, you just want to, people, oh, hey, Kels, let's go to, we're going to go gather up and everybody's going to meet at this car show, right? Yeah. And when you go there and everybody's talking with each other, but you're standing behind everybody and you're not part of the conversation, or they're not asking you for your advice on, what do you think of that car? Or, hey, what do you want to do next?
I'm just a body there.
You're just a wheel that's part of the crew. I hate to use the word token, but it kind of like the token, like, we're diverse as a thing now, right? So,
like I'm not fat phobic, I have a fat friend.
Right.
And it's like, okay.
Right. She knows where all the great restaurants are.
Right. Literally. I had a guy that I was in a biology class for in college, and he had a big crush on my friend, and it was very apparent that he liked my friend. And one day, he never really talked to me either. He only asked me for answers because I'm not a dumbass, and he was a dumbass. And he would always ask me where he should get lunch at that day.
Interesting.
And I'm like, And I told my friend about this, and she's like, dude, no, like, I don't think it's like that. I'm like, no, it's like that.
Oh, you should just ask him moving forward. It's like, what kind of tampon should I use in my time? I just thought you were a giant vagina. Right. So, that way.
Yeah, I thought you would know.
Right.
So, it's just like.
And words hurt. I don't care what anybody, sticks and stones, got it. But words, they fucking hurt.
They do.
And, when you don't know the pain behind somebody's eyes, no matter what that confidence or that mask is, and you're saying the wrong things, yes. Isn't it an offended world today? Yes, it is. But does that mean you should intentionally try to hurt somebody?
No.
Fuck no. And coming from my world, we grew up hurting people's feelings for fun. But that was for fun, and everybody was involved on it. And until you get the one that really struck that gold on you, and you're like, dude. And they're like, dude, too far, sorry. But now you can't do that. But when it is done, it's intentional. It's like
not a joke anymore.
Correct.
Like, it's like it's meant to hurt you.
Like we have a segment, right? That's the Genius of the Day.
Right.
And that's for people that comment on our YouTube about your show. That's more in a negative light. We had the one who was Mr. Genius. If you focus more on your weight loss than you do your podcast, then imagine where you would be. Yeah. Listen, man, we get it. If maybe you were trying to give great advice, cool. But how does that come off, and how hurtful is that when you really don't know? Then you don't know Kelsey. You don't know her show. You don't know what this is about. Sometimes saying nothing is better than saying something. But you had to feel like you had to say something to empower yourself.
Life coach for the day.
So now you're on our douchebag list. I mean, that's just all there is to it. Unless you come back with an apology, that's just the way it's going to be.
Right. There was one comment that it made me laugh, but I was like, all right. It literally just said, please lose weight.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
Right.
I'm like, do you read? Do you know the name of the show?
Right. Like, oh, I get it now. I should probably lose weight. Right. Thanks. Oh my God, you're awesome.
For who? For you?
Right.
This like douchebag writing this comment? Like, what? You want to take me out? You like me? Like,
what?
Like, what? I literally saw that comment and was like,
well, in today's society, the world's on fire. So everybody's looking for something to say about something. Right. You know,
they gotta put their 2 cents.
Now there's a category for everybody. There's pronouns for everybody. There's all these things, right? And everybody gets to experience all of it. Yeah. Where I come from, in a rarity of the Italian household that I lived in, I didn't have blinders, or I wasn't ignorant. I had, there was no racism with me. It was, I have friends of all different kinds, because people ask me all the time. They're like, why do you wear the skull rings or have the skull tattoo or wear a skull necklace? I'm like, because we're brothers and sisters under all this that we have. It doesn't matter color or creed. We all look the same underneath. And I do believe that I'm a humanist, right? I'm not religious. I'm a humanist. I believe in good energy. I believe in trying to help as many people as possible. Yeah. But I also believe that there's people out there doing the opposite. And all we got to do is just not listen to them and stay with the strong points of the people that matter. Right. So for the next round of that question, you got any other advice questions?
No. I had one other one, but I needed a little bit more information before
So when somebody wants to ask a question and be noticed on the show, how do they do that? Number one, today is a live segment. So if you are watching, you can always chat in. Yes. We do see it. We pop you on the screen. As long as you're somewhat respectful. And maybe even if you're not, we're going to make fun of you. Yeah. So you can do that. Or where do they go? What do they do?
You can direct message me on Instagram at kel.b2002. You can go to my Big Body Bigger Mouth Facebook page, or you can email me at kelsey@216thenet.com. And I do a lot of my inquiries on there, business inquiries, all that sort of thing on there. But yeah, like if I let every little thing someone said to me get me down,
right. Some of them I probably strike a chord, and some of them are like, yeah, all right, got it, right.
Like I'm like, sure, buddy,
right.
But like some guy on Tinder matched with me and then put whale emojis.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, that doesn't hurt that bad,
right?
Then I've had people be like, I don't remember all of them because I blocked them out. I've like done my work to be like, forget it, I don't need it. There were comments that made me cry in my bed for days.
Yeah.
And then there are comments that I'm like, okay, douchebag, like, whatever, brother. Like,
right. It's wherever your mindset is, too, for the day, right?
And it depends on the day. Yeah. Like, in my most depressed times, I'm like, ooh, like, I'm, like, ready to, like, jump ship. And then there are, like, other times where, like, someone will say something and I'm like, okay, lick my ass. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't really.
Right.
It's whatever to me. Like, but it depends. And it's like, there are certain things that happen, I feel like, to every fat person, especially fat women. Like, you've been on the bad date. You've been on the funny friend. You've been the one that, like, I've literally gone to parties where guys will talk to my friends and dead ass completely ignore me. Like, literally talk, like there was, like, a brick wall in front of me and that they didn't even see me at all. And then I've gone to places where, like, I was hit on for the first time, and then it's like, and they're talking to me and not my friend. And then it's like, what is this? Like, I've had the bad date. I've had the comment made. I've been to the parties that, like, you're only there to be the token person, like, or I was a friend of a friend. Like, I've been through it. I was bullied when I was a kid, like, for being big. And then there were times I said, fuck you. And I came back. And then that kid was, like, put in detention, like, not detention. I'm not a narc, but, like, put in, like, like, people were like, dude, that was fucked up.
Yep.
Like, you've been in all these situations, like jean shopping, dress shopping for prom and for homecoming. Dude, I didn't even want to fucking go because it's like, I want to go to these dances and there are no dresses in my size. There's one dress that looks like fucking Auntie Barry's wearing it to Sunday service. And then I'm like, I don't want to wear this, and all my friends are in these like little tight silhouette mermaid, sparkly, beautiful satin dresses, and I'm sitting there in like some puffball, like cotton made, like I hate this dress.
Right.
Like people don't know what it's like to shop plus size when I don't have a lot of money. You know, like I'm not like poor, but it's like, how can I afford to buy plus size items if they're going to mark it up?
Yeah, it's a markup. It's pretty big. Yeah.
And even for them to say, like, for corporations to be like, it's more fabric. First of all, it's not that much more fabric. And what do you pay for fabric? 10 cents a yard? Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like these brands can make these changes and they're not. And it's disgusting. Like Brandy Melville, disgusting. If you guys have time, watch Brandy Melville on HBO Max. Like, I was telling you about that a little bit last week. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, how are you going to have a brand that's one size fits all? It's not one size fits all. And it's like, it just literally gets my goat when people are like, oh, well, like, just try it on. Or, like, it'll fit, it'll work. And it's like, no, it won't. That's a size 14 jean, and I'm at, like, a size 28 jean. That's, like, 7 sizes different. Like,
it's my left thigh, guys. Come on.
Right. Like, I just, people don't know what it's like. You know? And I get, like, growing up on the other side isn't easy either. But it's like, to just don't comment on fucking people's bodies. Unless you have something positive to say, be like, oh, you look great today, you know? Like,
well, so the world, so there's people in the world that are narcissistic or have narcissistic tendencies, as well as just being a narcissist. There's many, and there's bullies that are attached to that, right? And they're, you know, they'll say things like, if I said, yeah, but you know what, beauty isn't so skin deep, it's internal as well. Like, if you're smart, I'm attracted to intelligence.
Yeah.
I'm attracted to good time people that are just wholesome and really, like, look after you as part of that crew, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody else on a narcissistic side would say, yeah, well, that's usually what fat, ugly people say. Oh, oh, that's the big comeback, right?
Right.
So it shows this level of ignorance and intelligence. And the world is on fire today because of a lot of that. I despise bullies. I hate bullies.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, and you know, and we have a disclaimer on the show because there's trigger warnings here for what we talk about. We swear. We're a little more open than other shows, but I would have to say that if you're out there and you're a bully, I'm not going to tell you to go find where they stored all the lead paint, and I'm not going to tell you to go ahead and start drinking that now or scraping asbestos without a mask. I'm not going to tell you that. But that's probably what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Because the world is going to be a better place without you.
Oh,
you know, and or by the mirror, look in it, find your flaw, work on helping other people with issues to make yourself a better person.
Yeah.
That makes you the person that you think you are as a narcissist, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, to the bullies out there, forewarning, Cappuccino don't put up with that shit.
Yeah, hell no. Kelsey don't either.
So
yeah, it's rough. It's definitely rough growing up that. I don't want people to be like, oh, well, just change it. Just change it. Like, you know, that.
Well, it's so easy, right?
Yeah, right.
It's like telling a heroin addict, it's like, don't do heroin. Just don't do it. Why would you even want to do it?
Yeah. Why would you want to be fat?
Right.
Why would you want to do that? Why do you want to look like that? Like, it's just like, it's not that fucking easy. And it's like, this is my story to be like, look, I'm doing my dream now because I'm accepting who I am and being the comedic relief.
Proud of you.
Right. Thank you. And like doing what I want to do. Like, did you watch Jersey Shore?
Yeah. Parts of it. I can't watch that show. It's too Guido-y for me.
I didn't really watch it, but one of my favorite like lines from that show is when, I don't know who's talking, but someone's like, I can lose weight, but you're going to need $10,000 to fix your fucking face.
Right.
Like, because one of the guys was like, oh, like, you're fat, whatever.
Right.
And it's like, is that seriously all people care about? It's like, don't we have like things to do? Like, don't we have like bills to be paid, wars to be fought? Like, you give a shit that I'm fat? Why? Like, what does that do for you? Like, what seriously
gives them that piece of self-satisfaction that they might raise themselves to the top?
Yeah.
Thinking they're better than somebody else.
It's
and
like,
they're
buddy,
not.
You're not better.
No, they're not. Like, they're really not. If they were better, they would have been like, hey, I like what you did with your hair today. It looks good on you. By the way, are you going to the gym? Because you're looking better. Keep that shit up. Let me know if you need help. You know, stuff like that. Those are all the right buzzwords. Right. You know, it's not motivating when somebody's holding you underwater, and then while you're treading the water, they give you a brick. Right.
And it's like, deal with that now.
Right.
Like, how is that fair? And it's like the guys who have like slept with me, or the guys that have like done stuff with me, and then they say like, oh, I would never do that, Kelsey's fat, or I would never date a fat girl, I would never, you know, be interested in a fat girl. It's like, buddy, you need a Viagra, 3 Viagras to keep going strong. Like, you know, like, I can do whatever I want to do. Your micro penis is not getting any bigger. Like, that's not really my issue. And it's like, that's fine. Like, if you want to pretend like you didn't sleep with me, or you didn't know me, or you didn't take me out on a date, I will post every single one of those fucking text messages on blast. Like, I have a huge pet peeve of guys pretending like they don't know me just because I'm fat. I had a guy recently. The guy I told you about, not the guy from last episode. This guy that went out with me, and then I dropped him off, and then he blocked me, and then he re-added me and was like, oh, like, can I come over? Let's hook up, whatever. And I was like, I'm not really interested in that. A friend of mine saw him at a bar and was jealous that I slept with that guy because he has like a big old crush on me. And he told the guy, like, I know what you and Kelsey did. And he was like, I don't know any fucking Kelseys. And he's like, oh, really? And he's like, buddy, you can drop it. Like, I know what happened. And then he showed him a picture of me, and he goes, nah, dude, I would never with her. And I was like, but you already did.
Wow. Like, well, let me show you this picture.
Yeah, right. I'm like, what's your Snapchat again? Let me just tag you.
Listen, it's not because I'm fat. It's just you have a little dick. That's all. Right. You know, I mean, you know, here's the thing. People are going to do that because they think they have an image to upkeep, or
That's the best part is, you know, like, literally, like, the biggest loser I've ever met. So it's like, I did you a favor. I was basically doing a Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. And, like, literally, like, nobody hangs out with him from school. Everyone thinks he's just a big drunken asshole loser. And it's like, I did you a favor.
I actually feel bad for him, because that means he's going to be very lonely as he progresses through life, and then realize when it's too late. And hopefully he can change that around and better it for himself to be better for other people. But, you know, hey, he's not part of your journey anymore, right?
No, he ain't.
So, awesome. Well, listen, we're at 53 minutes. Man, it goes by so fast, doesn't it? Well, so the serious side of Kelsey Belcher, a different style of episode for sure. Still awesome content though. Feel free to check us out. Where do they check us out?
216 Creator Studios on YouTube, Facebook, all of it, Twitch, Twitter. And yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. Make sure to click the live tab to see all of our daily episodes. And I post, well, it depends. It's supposed to be every other Monday, but, you know, life gets busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so make sure you guys go to that. And if you want to be a part of my Facebook group, make sure you look up Kelsey Belcher on Facebook. If you have any business inquiries, Kelsey at 216thenet.com and kel.b2002 on Instagram. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, and like, check it out. If you go to the YouTube, the old YouTube, I call it the YouTube. I don't know, I'm old. If you go to the old YouTube there at 216 Creator Studios, hit that live tab. And if you do like, share, subscribe, which would be awesome, smash that bell. That way, when you see her show pop up, it'll give you a notification. That way you don't miss an episode. Or you can go feedback while you're doing whatever you're doing. If you're eating or on a treadmill, doesn't matter. We're here for that kind of entertainment for you to listen to in the background. Absolutely. You wanted to close with something different, right? Or
yeah, so at the end of every episode, we are basically going to do a segment called What I Learned Today, or What We Learned Today. Basically, just kind of like recapping the episode and, you know, letting the good times roll. So what we learned today is make sure you're authentically yourself, you know, skinny, fat, thin, whatever. I just hope you guys know that I want you to be you and be confident and be yourself. And no matter the eating situation, like, you can always talk to somebody about it. I'm always here to listen. I mean, I've been through it all, been through the ringer. So I just think we learned that whoever is going to want you is going to want you for who you are, not what you weigh, what you look like. And yeah, we just learned that we got to just keep on moving on.
Yeah, I learned that, there's red flags. If you see those red flags, don't forget to check your mirror and work on yourself. It's okay to work on yourself before you get. How are you supposed to help other people if you can't help yourself, right?
Exactly.
So work on yourself. And remember, folks, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. I am Drew Cappuccino, 216 Creator Studios, Kelsey Belcher. And we will be back in the next few weeks.
Yes. Thank you guys for watching.